She doesn't even go here!
I'm bi, actually.
Excuse me. Could the ugly, untalented gays please report to the principal's office?
Hi, I'm Kurt Hummel, and I'll be auditioning for the role of kicker.
Hello! Welcome! Thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode of Not So Straight Nerds. I'm your host, Luke.
And I'm your other host, Alicia.
And today, we are going to be switching it up a little bit. You've seen a lot of movie and TV coverage from us. Today, we're going to go into gaming.
Yeah.
So we are going to talk about the very big game right now, Marvel Rivals.
Yeah.
Ooh. So I am a little bit of a gamer. I sometimes call myself a gamer, but I feel like I don't play nearly enough to be.
I sometimes call myself a gamer.
Well, because there are people, because I'm just so deep into like movies and shows and that kind of stuff. And then there are people who just game.
Yeah.
And that is
just game.
Some commitment.
Yeah.
It is. Whew. It's intense.
Yeah.
And when I play against people who are actual gamers, it's like, oh my god.
Oh my god, I suck. Like, meanwhile, these people, like, they do it 24/7 basically. So they live and breathe games.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I love that for them.
And it's,
but
you gotta love people being committed to something.
Yeah, I'm just never gonna be that good at games.
Well, and it's.
Nor do I really care to be, I guess. I don't know. I'm not as big of a gamer.
For me, I get like really captured by certain games, and then it's the thing I want to be doing when I get home, and you know, eventually they come and go. Yeah. But Marvel Rivals, like other games that I get really attached to, get me because there's a lot of story and a lot of lore and a lot of like flavor and style all kind of wrapped in, and it's a bunch of superhero characters that I already know and love. Yeah. So it's just like perfectly packaged to be super like it's
a game for you, basically.
But like really fun to invest yourself into.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. So
very fun.
Before we get too much deeper into discussing it, vibe check. How are the vibes?
I feel good. I was excited to film this. I feel like it's something different. I don't know nearly as much about Marvel Rivals. You have explained a lot to me, and I've seen y'all play it plenty of times. But I've tried to play it. I'm just not a big fan of like intense games like that. I like The Sims. You can go at it at your own pace, like build your stuff. Like I like the games where you're not really competing against anybody, unless it's like your friends. Like I'll do like Mario Kart and stuff. Like that's fun. But like you said, I get nervous when I'm around like people who clearly game all the time. I'm like, I don't know. But I do like the story of it. I found that the most interesting. I liked when you went through each character. There's a lot. We had to take a break halfway there. I was like, okay, I'm starting to like not remember. Like I'm starting to be like, wait, that was this character? No, that was this character. And I was like, I need to take a break because it's all blending together. But over time, as I've seen y'all play, I've like differentiated it more and more. It's really cool. And I'm getting really excited for some of these characters to potentially be in the MCU at some point. Mm-hmm. So like there are rumors of Psylocke being in, was it Doomsday or Secret Wars? Or
I believe it was Doomsday.
Yeah. Which I don't know where those rumors came from, but I have seen them. And then, who else was it? Luna Snow? In the Spider-Man
she was recently in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And someone, I think it might have even been Kevin Feige, came out soon after Marvel Rivals first released. Yeah. And he was like, don't worry, guys. We're looking at getting Jeff the Land Shark into the MCU.
Oh, I'm so happy for that.
And I think having the Grogu energy with the X-Men, that's perfect. Yeah,
I think that's perfect. And when the few games I played, I'm pretty sure it was like almost all with Jeff. I don't remember because that's one of the easier characters to like for beginners to get into, and he's also adorable. So I would be very excited. And I want like Squirrel Girl and a proper adaptation of magic, like Cloak and Dagger. Oh my god.
You know there's
so
a
many
Cloak
characters.
and Dagger show, right?
Yes, you told me about that. I have not seen it, but like within the MCU, I feel like I want them to bring it in.
Sure, I would.
That would be so cool. That would be another like MCU like duo, like power duo. I love that for them. So
I'd be interested to see what you think about the show. I think it's a really great concept. I think like you know how shows typically start really strong and then they get kind of weaker the longer it goes on? Yeah. I feel like they do that really fast.
Oh, okay. It starts really... Okay. Do they only have one season or how many?
Two. They have two.
Okay. Yeah. but there's a lot of fun characters here, and then of course there's a lot of familiar characters. They're still adding some every day. They just added Emma Frost not too long ago, and they're about to add Ultron. So I know some stuff, okay, but this is definitely your expertise. Like if I were talking about books, it'd be mostly me, but I'm excited to. We've never had an episode like this, so I'm excited. See what it's like.
Absolutely. My vibe check, you might be able to tell, I'm very excited to talk about this game. I've loved being, playing it is super fun, but I honestly really like unlocking things and getting new skins for these characters, and you can unlock like more lore for these characters. And I just love reading the story that these developers are telling. Yeah. And then the visual storytelling of it, where like the maps and why you're on the maps and doing whatever during each mission. It's really cool. I just really love all of the detail and care that goes into it. Yeah. So I can't wait to break it down.
Very detailed game. It was definitely a lot of love and talent put into this game. I could tell that, and I very much respect that. So,
Yeah. So, if you're curious how this episode is going to go, essentially, this is going to be kind of breaking down a lot of the lore, a little bit about how some of the characters work. We don't have it. Well, we have some of the things to talk about lore-wise. Yeah. But we're just kind of go with the conversation.
Go with the flow.
We're just gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
So
whoever gets brought up gets brought up.
If you play Marvel Rivals and you're looking for, the hard strats, that's not this. I'm so sorry.
Maybe we'll make one later.
I don't know if you're getting hard strats for me. I just like playing. And I'm decent. I'm a decent Marvel Rivals player. Yeah. I can put that on my resume.
Yeah. As your skill, I'm decent. Huh.
Right.
That'd be funny.
So, I think starting out, if you are unaware, if you've never heard of the game Marvel Rivals, what is Marvel Rivals?
What is Marvel Rivals?
So it is a 6 versus 6 third-person shooter. So, for those who might not know what a third-person shooter is, it is a game where you are shooting and you're a character and you're looking at their back. It's not first-person because you're not seeing through their eyes. You're seeing over their shoulder. And that allows you to really look at the character, and it's like reason for the character to be so well-designed, and it lets your skins have a reason to have the skins because you get to see them as the player.
Actually see it, yeah.
And there are...
also, don't mind me. I'm actively posting our Thunderbolts episode, so... Because I'm working late, because I'm an editor, I guess. Anyways.
What was I saying? There's a lot of characters. I don't remember the exact number, but it's around 32-ish?
I believe it.
34?
Yeah.
I want to say. And all of them have completely different attacks and different abilities. And there are some characters that are stronger against others, and you're able to switch what character you're playing mid-match to kind of change what your team dynamic is.
Yeah.
Certain
like
characters
there's different categories.
Yes.
Or whatever you call
there's
it.
3 main categories of different types of characters. There are... It's essentially tanks, damage, and healers. But they call them... It's Vanguard for tanks, Duelist for damage characters, and Strategist for healers.
Okay.
So... Slightly cooler. I appreciate the flair of trying to find their own words for it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the tank characters, the vanguards, they're the bigger characters. They provide shield. Essentially, they're supposed to be the brunt of the damage coming in and kind of taking it so the other characters can kind of go around them and get their shots in or get their heals in. The damage characters, they have less health than tanks, but they do a lot more damage than tanks do. So some of them are really great for flanking and getting behind the team and like killing off some of the characters that they find alone. There are characters that are really good for like staying in place and just getting like a barrage forward. Just a bunch of different unique styles there.
Yeah.
And then there are the strategists, the healers, and obviously they also have lower health, but they are supposed to be typically behind a tank and constantly healing the team. Typically from a distance, there's different strategies you can go there, but then they all heal in different ways, and it's interesting to see how the strategists differ.
Yeah.
So some really fun stuff there. And the different modes that are always in the game are... one team is either trying to capture a point and push it to the end of a map. The other team is trying to stop them. Or there is the capture the point, and it's best of 3. And you have like 3 different maps that you can go to.
Yeah.
Whoever gets to first wins the game overall.
Yeah.
So, essentially that's a pretty basic design, but with all the characters and all the powers, and
it's very like elaborate and detailed.
Yeah, it's
great.
a really fun time.
Yeah.
Even just to watch.
Yeah.
So,
I
super
agree.
fun. The whole story lore premise behind this game is that there are 2 main timelines in the game. And in the main timeline, we'll call this like modern day.
Okay.
And there is 2099, which Marvel people have heard that
Yeah.
over and over again. 2099 is a year that essentially there's a whole different universe, and that's where Spider-Man 2099 is, and there's a handful of other characters from that.
Yeah.
So essentially, Modern Time Doom and 2099 Doom both were trying to figure out how to become like a master of time. And so both of them ended up cracking the equation at the exact same time. And because they did that, it started what is called a time stream entanglement. And essentially that kind of pushed their 2 timelines really close together, and it kind of messed up a bunch of other timelines around them. Some timelines got completely destroyed. Some of them had like people pulled throughout the multiverse in different places. Some places got like merged and combined into one.
Okay.
And so basically all kinds of crazy stuff. But they are now aware of each other, and they hate each other. And they're the same person, and it's...
Yeah.
So it's interesting that there's 2 Dooms going on. And so they are the 2 big bads of the overall story. But then because of the time stream entanglement, all of these different other places have their own problems going on now. So, and there's a handful of different places throughout the multiverse that have a collection of heroes that are dealing with a specific problem. So, and that's what a lot of the maps are so far.
Yeah.
So, another big thing is that the time stream entanglement created what is called chronovium. They're these little like crystallized time things, and essentially they are kind of in big major points throughout the universe, and they are specialized to where they are.
Okay.
So like in Asgard, they're growing off of the World Tree.
Okay.
And there's some in Hell, where Hela is, and they're all glowing green. They're on Krakoa. They're in New York. They're in Wakanda's Galactic Empire. So they're just kind of all over the place. It's like time energy that Doom was trying to get, but now it's just scattered everywhere.
Oh, okay.
And so that also has an effect. It's a kind of a power battery. Does a lot of different things depending on who has it and where it's from as well.
Yeah.
So there is also a narrator kind of watching the whole thing, and she's the one who you hear talking like, oh my gosh, the mission point is open.
Yeah.
You better go get him. And she is Galacta. She is the daughter of Galactus.
Right.
And she's just... And apparently she appeared in, like, one comic a couple years before Marvel Rivals came out, and they just really liked her. So, essentially, she's just kind of watching the whole thing happen. She's like, you should give me... And she... Instead of eating planets, her thing is she eats the time crystals, the chronovium. So that's why she's a lot cooler than Galactus is.
Okay, yeah.
And so she's just...
Very fun.
She's just there and chilling. It's like, you might have noticed a galactic presence watching you. That's me. Doing my best. And she's a cutie.
I love that for her.
Here, hold on, let me
yeah.
see if I can find a picture of her.
Maybe I'll include that. Remind me, and I'll include that in our thumbnail because I think that could be fun. A little Galacta.
Galacta.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, you were talking about her, and I feel like I remember that design.
She's a cutie.
Very cool.
Considering she has a giant head.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
For those who aren't watching our YouTube, well, and I guess you aren't seeing it on YouTube right now.
I'll put it in the thumbnail if you want to go to YouTube and look at the thumbnail.
Yeah, and I'm just googling Galacta. She looks a lot like Galactus, but she has long black hair, and she's cunty.
Yeah, exactly. Very cool.
So very cool, very fun.
Yeah.
Then, from here, we're just going to kind of go to some of those big points throughout the different maps.
Yeah.
So one of the ones I really loved the idea for, because obviously you know the stuff in Marvel, the places you see in the MCU. What I really like with this game is they tried to find a way to make it something unique, and like there's something actively happening at each location. One of the things that I think exemplifies that the most is the Wakanda Empire, the Galactic Empire, that is. So essentially, in the 2099 timeline, the people of Wakanda wanted to
write this down.
Go for it. Take your
like
notes.
Write that down. Write that down.
So the people of Wakanda eventually decided that they wanted to find out where the vibranium came from in the universe, because on Earth, Wakanda was built on top of a vibranium meteorite. So essentially, they went out into space and they eventually found the birthplace of vibranium. And they settled on it. They made an entire like floating galactic civilization around the birthplace of vibranium, so that they are no longer on Earth. They're up in space, and they have this super intergalactic, like on the map you just see space, and you can see it's almost kind of like on Halo. They have this like giant ring city where like if you look out at the map you see it going up in a giant circle. It is just absolutely gorgeous.
Okay.
It's like a more futuristic version of what the MCU has going on with Wakanda. It still looks beautiful. The technology's everywhere. Super cool, super fun.
Yeah.
So the big kind of story thing here is that the Panther goddess Bast, who typically speaks directly to whoever is the Black Panther, she's being weird.
Okay.
And T'Challa and his sister can kind of feel that Bast is kind of becoming a darker entity.
Yeah.
And so
I remember this too.
The whole point of the map is that you have a statue of Bast, and then whenever you like capture the point as the team is trying to push it, it kind of comes to life as this kind of hologram.
Okay.
Purple panther, and it kind of, it walks in place as the point is moving.
I remember
if the enemy
seeing
team
that
captures
now.
it like cowers down and starts backing up.
Okay.
So super cool little design. And essentially the team pushing it is trying to get it to an altar where essentially they're trying to purify the energy off of Bast.
Okay.
And kind of make her a good goddess again.
Yeah.
And the lore points for Black Panther early on are that he's trying to figure out Shuri is responsible and working with the team on modern day New York.
Okay.
To try and create a device that will separate the timelines again and end the conversion. Or not entanglement, not the conversion. And
there's a lot of like technical terms. It's weird.
That's comic book lore for you.
Yeah.
And so Shuri's confident that the Kravonium mixed with the vibranium of their civilization is strong enough to power this device.
Yeah.
But Black Panther is like, no, for some reason the goddess is telling me to not let you do that.
Oh, you mean the goddess that you think is going evil is trying to tell you not to do something, and you're like, let's not do it. That's funny.
And then there's a little like lore thing
no
that
red
you can
flags
unlock
there.
for him, where he puts a blindfold on to like meet her, and he ends up walking through like the what's the afterlife for? Like the Wakandan afterlife. I forget what it's called.
I forget what it's called too, but it's like when you see
the astral plane.
Oh, okay.
And he like meets her, and then he ends up like taking the blindfold off and seeing that she's like this horrific monster now.
Oh.
So and he's like, well, guess we can't listen to her now.
Oh.
Guess our god's evil. That's crazy.
Dang.
When did that happen?
Oh well. Hate to see it.
You hate to see a baddie be taken down like that.
Yeah.
And then Wakanda is also one of the maps that has the different, like, claim the points, like the 2 out of 3. And they have the Warrior Falls, where, like, the battle happens to see who becomes the leader in Black Panther. They have, like, a ship dock, where the ship that you see from, like, the MCU kind of takes off, and it's like, cool, get that point where that plane was. And then the other is, like, some kind of, like, net thing, like kind of like information hub or something.
Okay.
So just some of the places that you get to see in there. And then Shuri, you see a lot about her in the lore, and I think you can even hear her on the comm for one of the maps, for like the capture the point maps.
Mm-hmm.
So I would not be surprised if eventually she becomes her own character, which I would like to see.
Yeah.
And I think that she would be a really good strategist. The thing is, like, with strategist characters, not a lot of characters in comics inherently have healing powers.
Right.
So in order to, like, kind of balance out the 3 different categories, you have to look for, like, stretches of, oh, this is a person who could be a healer if we do this to them.
Yeah.
And so I think Shuri would be a really easy one with the technology she has.
Yeah. I agree.
I think if she has, like, if you do, obviously I would go with her being, like, the Black Panther Shuri.
Yeah.
And her, like, with the, like, Panther gauntlets and, like, shooting, like, some kind of, like, healing rays.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool for her. Mm-hmm. So that's, for the most part, what's happening in Wakanda. Okay. We might circle back as we look at some of the other stories.
Yeah.
So another big place is Tokyo 2099.
Mm-hmm.
So that is in the same universe where Doom 2099 is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But specifically in Tokyo is where the Master Weaver is, and the Web of Destiny, the Web of Life and Destiny is.
Okay.
So the Spider Weaver, he's this like giant robot guy with like a giant spider body.
Okay.
And so he essentially, you know, in Across the Spider-Verse, that whole organization of spider people, essentially that's this, but less high tech.
Okay.
It's still 2099, so there's technology, but it's more spiritual here because it's this giant web where you can see flashes of the future, the past, and everything in the multiverse. Mm-hmm. So the whole lore here is that he has the Web Weaver has an apprentice called Spider Zero. Mm-hmm. And they are trying to protect the web from Doom 2099. He keeps sending robots to attack it. They summon spider people from across the universe to defend it, including Penny Parker, who is one of our tanks.
Yes.
You would know her best from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. She is the one with the giant robot called Spider.
Yeah.
And she's fun.
She's very fun.
I enjoy her a lot. She has infinite blasts that come out of these shoulder cannons on Spider, which is really nice. She has the ability to shoot a, like, I don't know the best way to say it, but like a web of, like, energy, an energy web instead of, like, silk or whatever. And it can, like, stun people in the middle of attacking, which is really nice. And then she's also able to put down this, like, machine that shoots out web everywhere, and it creates these little spider mines that chase after anyone who steps on the web, which is very handy for keeping a spot locked down. Yeah. So she's a lot of fun. She's one of my favorite tanks if I had to play a tank.
Okay.
So she's very fun. She's very dependable for me. So she is one of the more named people on this team. Obviously, there's a bunch of other spider people that we can kind of see, like Spider-Punk is talked about a little bit. Okay. I think eventually it'd be really cool if they wanted to make a London map, but a London Punk map. Okay. For Spider-Man Punk. Ooh. I think that would be really fun, super stylized, and they could do some fun things there. Introduce some of our British characters, like Captain Britain or Union Jack, maybe. Some possibilities. But
couldn't that also be Captain Carter? Isn't that why she wears what she wears?
Could be. I mean, that's the country she's from, but she definitely... It depends on what universe they're going for, so they could do Captain Carter from there as well.
For those fans.
Who knows? Who knows? But, so the whole premise for the map there, and there's 2 maps, they're both pushing the point forward, is that the web was breaking, and everyone was trying to figure out how to heal the web because of the whole entanglement, putting a lot of stress on the web, keeping the universe together. Yeah. So, essentially, Spider-Zero tried something to fix it. It didn't help. It made things worse. So, the Web Weaver banished her. And so, both missions are either you're on the Web Weaver side or Spider-Zero's side. Okay. And Spider-Zero is trying to get back to the middle of the web to do a new strategy to fix it. So, the first map is, like, right out, like... And Spider Island is like floating above Tokyo, like by like webs coming off the web, keeping it high above the ground. So the first map is like on the ground level, and you're pushing her in her little spider buggy to a point where she can teleport to the island.
Okay.
Then the second map, she's captured on the island, and you have to capture the point to free her, and then walk the spider buggy all the way up to the web, and then she goes in and fixes it. And then if you stop her, then the Weaver stops her, and it's, oh, she was going to make it worse. Essentially, either side that wins is like, oh,
they
you
have a
did
justification.
this.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Other things happening in 2099. Ooh, because there's a bit more lore here. So.
Okay. Those are all the spider lore.
This one is not spider lore, actually.
Yeah. No, I'm saying that's it for the spider lore so far.
For the most part, and then there's a thing where they talk to Spider-Man in modern day to come help. He's like, I can't do that. There's a lot happening in New York right now. So,
and
tell
there
me
is.
later.
We'll get to that.
We'll
Yeah.
get to that. But down on the main 2099 level, on ground level, there is a resistance movement of some of them, like more darker and spy heroes trying to fight Doom.
Okay.
In that timeline.
Yeah.
So there is a story that is told in the lore about Alchemax. And Alchemax is one of the big corporations that kind of runs the world in 2099. It is the place where Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, works and gets bit by the spider.
Okay.
So, in one of the stories, Black Widow, who essentially is, I think, like 90, but she has some kind of serum in her that keeps her youthful. And they mention Nick Fury in this, so he's alive and kind of
around
person who talks to her and kind of what's the word, counsels her on what to do.
Yeah.
And her and Wolverine are a part of this, and basically Black Widow breaks into Alchemax to try and find this thing that AIM. I don't remember if it's AIM, but Alchemax, the people who run Alchemax, are hiding this really big secret level project all the way down in the basement. And she goes in and she finds that it is a frozen Captain America.
Okay.
And so she frees him. This is a Captain America who was still frozen since World War II.
Oh.
And this is when he wakes up in 2099. He doesn't get modern day.
No.
He gets hyper future.
Okay.
So
she unfreezes him?
Yes.
Okay.
And she escapes with him. An explosion happens. They get lost. He's left on the streets of Tokyo 2099.
Oh.
Wolverine finds him, tracks him down.
Okay.
And is like, hey, let's get you out of here, Cap. You're a big deal.
Yeah.
And so they take him to the Tokyo Wakandan Embassy.
Okay.
And mind you, in 2099, Wakanda's no longer on Earth.
Okay.
And so they kind of activate a statue that opens a portal that allows Captain America to seek refuge in the Wakandan Empire.
Okay. Very nice.
So he's chilling there for now.
Is that another location that they use sometimes?
We've not seen it yet.
Okay.
If they do want to make it, it's just a thing they mention in the lore.
Okay.
So maybe. I'm sure there are Wakandan embassies a little bit everywhere.
Yeah.
I think they actually have one in New York, actually.
Okay.
That's one of the entry spots where you kind of load in, and it's like the spawns.
Okay.
Also, they mention a story about how Black Widow went to go get the Punisher of 2099 on their team. It's a story about how he snuck into the Silver Samurai's criminal organization and killed all of them. And then she was like, well, that was intense. Want to help me take out Doom? And he was like, yeah, I guess.
I guess if I have to. That's funny.
So right now the kind of resistance movement in 2099 is Widow, Wolverine, and Punisher.
Not Captain America?
Captain
Because he's just kind of separate?
Was freed. He was immediately kind of jumped over to 2099.
Okay.
Or into the Wakandan Empire.
Yeah.
So he wasn't there to fight. So.
Okay.
And that is essentially the biggest stuff happening in 2099.
Okay.
We haven't actually heard a lot from Doom 2099. So we just know that he's done that. He's been super judgmental of everything that normal Doom has done since.
Yeah. He's like, gosh, my other person sucks.
But he's still better than everyone else because he's a Doom, but I'm still better than him.
Yeah.
That's funny. So moving on over to Asgard. Whenever Asgard got hit by the entanglement, it essentially merged Asgard with the World Tree. So now it is called Yggdrasil.
Ooh, props to you for pronouncing Yggdrasil.
Yep.
Yggdrasil. Okay, I kind of got it.
So whenever that happened, Loki was kind of studying the tree and what happened.
Okay.
The Cronovium, the crystals, were kind of combined into the sap of the world tree.
Okay.
And so Loki found that whenever he like took and like, I don't know if he drank it or just like touched it, but every time he like interacted with it, he was able to see a potential future.
Oh.
And he was seeing.
That's cool.
All of the futures were showing that Asgard, Yggdrasil, gets destroyed by something. Sometimes it's dark elves, sometimes it's frost giants, sometimes it's, a gazillion things. But the one timeline he found where Asgard is not destroyed is where Loki is king.
Interesting.
And so
convenient for him.
A little convenient, no?
But I mean, I guess.
But he
do we
sees
know?
It.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's true.
Yeah. So now a little more righteously, he's trying to take the kingdom, and he actually goes and makes a deal with Hela.
Okay.
And she decides
Thor's not gonna like
him
that.
to make Loki the king of Asgard, and now they have an alliance.
Okay.
There's also some weird thing where Hela is trying to use the Cronovium in Hell to try and take the souls of the dead throughout time and kind of summon them all at once to her to make a giant army for herself. Not super touched on, but something interesting.
Okay, something that's there. Yeah. And Hela's not a character, right?
Yes, she is.
Oh, she is. Okay.
She's one of the.
Because I knew Loki is Loki. Actually?
Yes.
Okay, I was thinking he was, and then Thor is. But I did not know about Hela. That's cool. So far all the characters we've named are characters you can play.
Yes.
Except for Doom.
And Shuri.
And Shuri. Yes. Okay. Gosh, I need to make Shuri. Come on. Hurry up.
But she's still there, so I think they want to more introduce some characters that aren't on the field yet.
Yeah.
Which I totally get. I was saying something.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, so essentially
team up in the army.
There's a thing where essentially the plot is Loki puts Odin into the Odin sleep, so he's out of the way, and then he tricks Thor into being locked into like the chamber of solitude or something. He eventually breaks out and is like, Loki, what the heck? And then Loki's like, hey, I'm king. Hela, banish him. It's like, okay, cool, you're gone, bye.
Oh.
And then he gets banished to Earth, and it is the Earth where Bruce Banner has developed a gamma belt that allows him to control how much gamma is being pushed into him.
Okay.
So he is able to become Hulk, Bruce, and then a super giant gamma monster Hulk at will.
That should be what MCU Bruce Banner... Like, Bruce Banner needs to become something else. Because whatever he is right now is not great.
He's at a point where, like, this is where you would say goodbye to the character. And no one wants to say goodbye to Hulk. Because it's the Hulk.
Yeah.
So,
It's disappointing. Anyways.
But I like the idea that, like, because whenever he becomes the Hulk, it's still, like, he's a different person.
Yeah.
But Hulk is able to turn back into Bruce if he wanted to.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a nice touch.
Right. That's very interesting.
So, and not a lot is happening for Hulk. All his, like, little lore thing we got is him, like, experimenting on the belt that obviously we know works.
Okay, yeah.
So, but now him and Hulk are in the same place. Him and Thor. And that's essentially all that we know is happening with Yggdrasil.
Okay.
There are 2 different maps right now for Yggdrasil, which is... One of them is a push the point. It is Stormbreaker the Axe mounts a chariot with the 2 goats from Thor Love and Thunder, pulling it all the way to the roots of Yggdrasil.
Oh, I've seen that one too.
Then Stormbreaker goes and I guess hits the tree and I guess supposedly cuts Loki's power.
Okay.
Otherwise Loki just destroys the hammer.
Yeah.
Or the axe. And the other is a capture the point. And it's, the best 2 out of 3. One of them is in the Odin throne room. One of them is in like an Asgardian garden, and there's this giant Loki statue in the middle that can be completely destroyed.
Yeah. And
then the other is in some other kind of hub of magic or technology or something.
Yeah.
A lot of that. A lot of that energy. That is essentially what is happening with Asgard. Then one of the other maps was the Hydra Base.
Yeah.
So this place, it is like in the Antarctic, I believe.
That makes sense for them, I feel like.
Yeah. So essentially the whole lore behind this map is Bucky was sent to this place to kind of infiltrate and figure out what they were doing there. Mm-hmm. And then Bucky gets captured. Uh-oh. And then he gets experimented on. Uh-oh. And then weeks later, we cut to Hawkeye being brought out there, flown by Agent 13, who's mentioned by name, which is interesting.
Do we know an Agent 13 in the,
MCU? Yes. She is Sharon Carter.
Oh,
Agent 13.
Okay, cool. Actually, I said cool, and then I realized that I don't like Sharon. Right? Isn't that the blonde one?
She's a bad guy now.
Oh. Well, I mean, she was the bad guy. Yeah, and then that didn't go anywhere, so. We'll see.
Yeah, it is interesting she wasn't in Cap form, but.
I don't know, man. I did see a tweet about that she wasn't in Cap 4. So.
I actually completely forgot about that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's for the best.
Mayhaps. But moving on. So Hawkeye is sent on the mission to go and save him. Mm-hmm. So he goes in there. He finds out that Hydra's occult leaders were doing rituals on him. Oh. So then they free him, but he's like, "Hey, they have a monster they're trying to summon, so we need to stop that." Mm-hmm. And so they go to defeat this giant cult door where the Hive is trying to be brought into the world. Mm-hmm. For those who don't know who Hive is, watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's on Disney+. It's a very fun ride.
It is overall it's a very good show.
Yes.
It's had some weak moments, but
it starts
most
really
shows
strong
do.
And it gets to
it's interesting.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
And
he gets to witness Daisy, and she's great.
For sure.
One of my favorite characters, honestly. So I hope she comes back. But we'll see.
It'd be fun. So, and it's actually recently been rumored that Hive is going to be a character that gets put in the game sometime soon. Okay. So some data miners have found some data suggesting that he's going to be a character coming sooner rather than later, which would be very fun. I really like that some of the characters in this game are characters that are less well known. Yeah. I don't know if I'd even heard of Jeff the Shark before the game made him a character, and I absolutely adore him. Mm-hmm. So I would love to see some Hive love.
I didn't know a lot. I didn't know Psylocke. I didn't know Jeff, Squirrel Girl, Cloak and Dagger, Luna Snow. I've heard of Magic, and I feel like, are there any others that you're I'm
trying to think of any other deep cuts. Penny Parker, Namor. Some of these characters found some love a little more recently. Yeah. Those are definitely the biggest ones. Yeah.
But they're all really cool. Every single one is very interesting. Mm-hmm. And I think the design helps a lot with it. I love the graphics of the game. It looks so cool. Mm-hmm.
It's very satisfying to watch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, and on that mission, essentially they start blowing up the place, and the place starts crumbling down on them. Mm-hmm. The actual map is it only has one mode, which is capture the point, best 2 out of 3. Mm-hmm. And you either destroy the door or you open it and you see the giant tentacles start coming into it.
That's funny.
So, but in the middle of the place collapsing, Wakanda sends Captain America to come and save them. Okay. And so these two characters are from the modern day timeline, and their Captain America actually died in battle. So
I do remember this.
Then here comes 2099 Cap to save them, and they end up going back through a portal to Wakanda, and then Bucky needs to go and get healed. Yeah. And so that's essentially the end of the story there for now. Okay. I'm hoping if Hive gets introduced, we get another map there, which would be really fun. Mm-hmm. But whenever they go through the portal and are back in Wakanda, the Wakandan Empire, there is a little lore break about how Bucky is in the healing, and they're talking about how great it is to see each other again. You're not my Cap, but I still know that you're the person that I would put my life on the line for. And then
there we go.
A vast panther nearby, a statue of it, starts glowing red. And then Bucky's arm starts becoming robotic tendrils and starts attacking everybody. Oh no. And then eventually it ends with Captain America cutting off his arm with the shield. And that's another thing where, oh yeah, Bast is evil right now.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Dang.
So, but I think it's interesting.
But is it fine once his arm gets cut off?
Unclear. I don't think we've seen him again since that happened.
Okay. We have no idea. I guess it could be fine. That seems like something we should talk about.
He's still on the missions, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, so fun little twist. I think it's interesting that the Hydra sorcery ties into what's happening with Bast. So there's something to maybe look at there.
Yeah.
And then even with the tendril arm that they have him, his ult is that Winter Soldier's ult is that he jumps in the air and he slams down and it's like all tendrils everywhere. And he's also able to extend out the tendrils and like bring characters to him to
And an ult, from my understanding, is like your big like attack move.
Yes, it's a meter
if you use it right.
Yeah,
of
it's
course.
a meter that builds up the more you attack or heal
do
or
stuff
do the stuff that your character's supposed to do. It goes faster. It kind of goes slowly over time, but it's supposed to be a big event, big attack or big thing that like really
you
helps
have
your
some declaration of like what's a good one?
Dangerous. And this one is specifically really funny because if you hit someone with the attack and then kill them, you are able to just keep doing it over and over again.
Oh my god!
Again. Until you like run out of people to kill with.
Yeah.
And so that's just something you can keep again.
That's funny.
It's quite humorous. But and that's essentially what's happening at the Hydra Base.
Yeah.
Like I said, we have Hive coming, so I'm anticipating we maybe go back there, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. Get some answers. What's been going on?
So another thing that has been happening at Wakandan Empire is that Shuri has been trying to figure out what's happening with their goddess. So throughout the lore, clearly she is, even as a character, less spiritually in tune with the goddess than T'Challa is. So, but she's immediately like, let's try and do some math here.
Yeah.
And she finds that there is some kind of darkness spreading throughout the universe that is stemming from this little planet called Klyntar. Which, those who may not know, that is the home planet of the symbiotes, aka Venom and friends.
Venom's another character.
Yes.
That you can play.
So she sends the Guardians of the Galaxy to go figure out where this energy is coming from.
Which ones in the Guardians can you play with?
So right now the Guardians you can play with are Star-Lord, Groot, and Rocket. They're the ones sent on the mission.
Okay.
Mantis is also playable, and so is Adam Warlock.
Okay. No Gamora.
No Gamora yet. No Drax yet.
Oh yeah, or Drax. Or
Nebula.
Okay, so we got some potential there.
Definitely some potential.
Yeah.
Which is very exciting. We don't have a nowhere map. I think that's an easy way to tie some of them in.
Yeah.
Xandar, the Hala, the Kree
Ooh, the
Empire.
like arrow whistle guy. What was his name?
Yondu would be fun.
That would be really fun.
Yeah, a lot of potential. So
his ult could just be like a certain
radius gets
radius.
It'd be something very similar to Silence.
That'd be so fun. Okay,
So,
as if I play it. But anyways, that would be cool to watch.
For sure.
Yeah.
But so Shuri's the one who sends the 3 Guardians to Klyntar to figure out what's happening. They end up crash landing. And so Groot and Star-Lord and Rocket are trying to figure out how to get out. Then they realize the planet is alive with the sound of screaming symbiotes trying to kill them.
Ooh.
So they also notice that there is a beheaded celestial in the sky.
Oh.
Just floating above the map.
Okay. Do we know why, or it's just a thing?
So it is a celestial that got his head cut off.
And if you don't know, celestials from Eternals.
Yes, they're essentially
giant
gods
things
of
in
the universe.
Yeah, giant things in the sky.
In the lore, he got beheaded by the Necro Sword.
Okay.
Which we saw in the MCU wielded by Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah, we did. I remember that.
And it was wielded by Null, the god of the symbiotes.
Okay. I feel like I know that name, so maybe that was mentioned.
In the 3rd Venom movie.
Okay, that's why.
He was the one who sent those creatures after him.
Okay.
So, it is learned that Null is, like, presumably trapped on there somehow. The whole map is you're pushing the team is trying to push Noel's essence to a point where it can kind of like explode out.
Yeah.
And there's only one map, so I'm very hoping we get another map with some more lore of explaining what's happening on this planet.
Yeah. Okay. Which you have other Guardians, so they definitely could.
Yeah, I honestly hope it's a whole season where like you get a bunch of Venomized costume for a bunch of other characters.
Okay.
Which is super sick. Because I super love the idea of a bunch of different characters having Venom on them. And,
especially Spider-Man, guys.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
It'd be a really easy skin to do.
Yeah.
So, it's Noel versus the Guardians. They're just trying to survive there. It's revealed that Noel is the reason that Bast is behaving like a baddie. And whenever the entanglement happened, Adam Warlock immediately cocooned to protect himself from the effects of it. And so he was just going through space aimlessly, just kind of randomly on some path throughout space. And he is telepathically communicating with a handful of different things that are near him. Okay. He talks to Odin whilst he's in the Odin sleep and is like, man, my son, what the heck? I can't run a kingdom here. He passes.
Can't work in these conditions.
Passes the Wakandan Empire, and here's Bass, and she's like, you're gonna want to hear about this Noel guy. He like powers up gods and makes them really cool, and you should meet him, or else he's gonna kill you. Oh. And it's like, okay, we're gonna keep going. You hear a
turn the other direction.
You hear a screeching firebird through space.
Oh, okay.
Looking at Phoenix, who people have talked about, like seeing some more recent game data for her. So it's anticipated that she's going to be one of the next couple of characters released.
That'd be fun.
Very exciting. And then he ends up landing on the body of the Celestial right outside of the Klyntar planet. Cut to Venom, who I guess randomly ends up in limbo and is somehow just in the middle of a limbo war revolution. Okay. So, in this world, in this universe, Magic is the queen of limbo. And so she finds herself in a demon war trying to keep her kingdom safe. And she finds him there, and she's like, oh, you don't want to be here. Why don't I send you... like create a portal and send you to where you need to go. And he's like, hey, I kind of get vibes that I need to go here for some reason. Okay. And so he ends up on the celestial body as well. Okay. And then he and Adam Warlock see each other and they're like, that's why
hey,
you look the bad guy to me, I look like the bad guy to you. Let's do this. Oh, okay. And so that is the people who are currently on Klyntar. I say currently. Rocket ends up at the Hellfire Gala that we're about to discuss, and they don't explain it. There's a lot of confusion in Winter Soldier. Like I said, we never hear what he does next after he gets his arm cut off in Wakanda, but he has a skin for New York and what's happening there. So, it's a little like the characters are where we want them to be so they can do the cool thing. Maybe we'll have a lore explain it why. Yeah. But story-wise, that is who's at Klyntar. Like I said, I hope there's a whole season around symbiote. Loki has a symbiote skin already. He had one from the last season's Battle Pass, and he's called the All Butcher. Very fun, very fun. His horns are all tendrily, and it's super cool. Yeah. So that is everything that was there when the game released early on. They called that Season 0. Okay. Then Season 1 came, and that was the Fantastic Four versus Dracula. Okay. So in New York, as they mentioned this throughout Season 0, but New York, right after the entanglement happened, a blood moon was placed right above New York, and it is eternally night there. And that is because Dracula has decided to come to town and has made a castle in Central Park and is trying to expand his vampire army. Sure. As one does. Dracula, you can't play. No, you can't. Right. He's just kind of chilling on one of the maps. Okay. But we now all have all 4 Fantastic Four members. Yes. So this season, that was cool. A season where they released Sue and Reed together, and then the Thing and the Human Torch together. Yeah. So the uncles. Yeah, and then both came with different maps. The first map that they gave, it was pushing Herbie from the Fantastic Four's Baxter Building all the way to the Avengers Tower.
Okay.
And we'll explain that. Mm-hmm. So the heroes in New York, trying to remember off the top of my head who they are, is the Fantastic Four and that whole team.
Okay.
Spider-Man, Squirrel Girl, Cloak and Dagger, Iron Man, and Moon Knight.
Wow. That is a lot.
There's a lot of characters here.
That's cool, though.
And so all of the heroes are trying to save civilians and combat vampires. Mm-hmm. So a lot happening in New York.
Yeah.
And the vampires aren't going away because there's no sun, because the moon's here forever.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and there is a bit of a Civil War-ish divide on how the heroes want to deal with that. Mm-hmm. Moon Knight and Iron Man talk about how they want to use the pages of the Darkhold to cast a spell that will get rid of all vampires.
Okay.
Including the civilians who were just forced into becoming vampires.
Oh, okay.
Reed and friends want to create a device that will essentially cure everyone.
Okay.
However, it runs on the same stuff that it would take to activate the quantum de-entanglement entangler that would fix the time streams.
Oh.
And they still don't even have enough of that. So it's like, well, what you gonna do? You could potentially
save the world.
not work, and then so there's a big divide there.
Yeah.
Moon Knight and Iron Man are the big ones on the side of let's just get rid of all the vampires, and everyone else is on the other side.
Oh, okay.
So some other stuff that happens in New York that's important to note: Cloak and Dagger. Right as the quantum entanglement hit, they saw something was happening to New York, and Cloak was teleporting them away when they got hit. So now, essentially, only one can exist at a time, and the other lives in the other's head, which is why they swap in at the same.
Okay.
They play as the same character.
That's what's really cool about their characters. Yeah, you only play with one at a time, but there's a button where you can switch them. It's almost like a, at that point, multi-personality in a way.
And it's really cool. Dagger always was really known for healing.
And they do two different things, right?
Light. Yes. So Dagger is a healer. Yeah. She shoots daggers that home in on enemies, or if they hit allies, they heal them. She has healing light. Yeah. If you switch to Cloak, he blasts this beam that just targets people automatically and damages them over time. He also has a blinding blast, which is very helpful. And then he can go Cloak form, and there's the circle around him where he's untouchable, and if any of his allies are in there, they also don't get hit by things being thrown at them.
Okay, fair.
And he can hover a little bit, but so then they are a strategist character. And their lords also noted that they end up kind of switching personalities because Tandy wants to be on Iron Man's side and is let's just kill all the vampires. And Cloak, who's typically the darker character because of the cloak, is no, we should not do that actually. That's a lot of murder. Yeah. And so it's an interesting divide there that I don't think they explore a whole lot. Okay. But something worth noting.
I love them. They're so fun.
And then right as the entanglement hit the Sanctum Sanctorum, Doctor Strange knew that Doom was trying to do something with time. He had the Darkhold, and Doom came for it. And he was like, you don't want to fight with me in my own home where I'm more powerful, so DTFO. And then he also has this cute little ghost dog that talks to him. And so he ends up hiding the Darkhold in the mirror dimension. Okay. It's revealed that Khonshu apparently gets it out of there at some point to give to Moon Knight to fight the vampires. Oh. And whenever the entanglement hits, he basically single-handedly prevents the modern timeline from being destroyed. But then it also launches him into the mirror dimension. Oh. And in a way where there are a gazillion pieces of his soul. And he's kind of stuck there.
You can play as him, though, right?
You can.
Okay.
And the reason why is because he reaches out to other universes. What is his title? Sorcerer Supreme. Yeah. And so eventually he comes upon a universe. I don't know if it's 2099 or not. Okay. But he comes around a universe where the Sorcerer Supreme is Wanda Maximoff. Ooh. And he convinces the Scarlet Witch to come into his universe, help him figure out which version of him in the mirror dimension is really him.
Okay.
Bring him out, and then he will give her the Darkhold
for
that.
Okay.
And so they also join Mr. Fantastic's side whenever they get there back to New York.
Okay. Very fun.
So
love Wanda. She's also, I think you've said, a good beginner character.
Yes. She's one of the easiest characters to play as starting out. She's a 1-star. The characters in difficulty range from 1 to 5. She's really fun. She has a blast that just automatically hits people that are near her, similar to Cloak. She has some bolts that she can throw on like Cloak that do a lot of damage, but they take a long time to respawn. She has a stun bubble that can stun people if they step into it multiple times if they don't get out of it. She's also able to go invisible into this little like ghost form where she can't be hit or damaged. And then she can hover down. And then her ultimate ability is that she can kind of like exude chaos energy, similar to that scene in Age of Ultron where she like completely like shatters the robots that are near her into dust. It's fun whenever it goes off. It takes a while to charge up, so you're very vulnerable.
Okay.
They updated it so she has some extra health whenever she's doing that, but originally when it was just her health and she was doing that, it was almost impossible to get that thing off. Because it also like warns you, hey, if you're even near this, you're gonna die if this goes off. For the enemy team.
So that's annoying.
Like, let's kill that person.
Yeah. Dang.
So
she goes like, doesn't she go like yo or something? Yeah. Oh, okay. I had no idea what she was saying. I just knew she was yelling. I was like, girl.
All of the characters yell for their ult.
Yeah, basically as a, hey, something's about to happen. You may want to leave.
And Doctor Strange is a fun tank because a special ability he has is that he can open a portal between any 2 places on the map.
Oh, love that for him.
And he can just choose where it opens up, which sometimes people are clever with it and they like open it up so that people can shoot their ults right at the enemy. They can like flank around. They can like originally people would like open the portal, have Wanda be charging her ult all the way across the map and then come right on top of the people right as it's charged.
Okay.
Some of the more crueler versions are putting it right outside the spawn bubble for the other team and they walk off a cliff.
Oh, dang.
One of the cruelest ones I saw was someone opened a portal. There were 2 exits to like for them to get out of their spawn, and he portaled them right to each other, so they couldn't leave spawn
I
at
hate
all.
That.
It doesn't last forever.
Yeah.
But you know, in a game like this, seconds matter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Dang.
That was one of the most clever ones I'd seen personally playing.
Yeah.
Which was super fun. So. We talked about the different sides. Dracula. They also mentioned Blade. Spider-Man meets Blade out there on the field, and Dracula has a horde of vampires, and he single-handedly captures and takes Blade to his New York Park castle.
Okay.
Squirrel Girl's lore is that she meets Rotadisker, the Asgardian squirrel god and messenger between the different realms. So it's revealed that Dracula summoned Ratatosker there, and obviously they bond because that's a giant squirrel.
Yeah.
And it was summoned because the horn of Ratatosker apparently has the ability to kill any immortal.
Oh.
So Dracula captures Ratatosker as well.
Yeah.
So he has captured the 2 biggest threats that he sees to his rule over the Blood Empire that he's created in New York. Eventually,
and you can't play as the Ratatosker.
No,
or
you
whatever.
cannot. In the second map, that is actually the point that you capture and then move to where Dracula is. And then if you defeat it, it shows Squirrel Girl riding it into the castle and like kicking Dracula out. And the sun's up and the Empire's gone. Yeah.
Very fun.
Very, very fun. Black Panther actually decides to go to New York to help them. And right after he lands, he actually gets confronted with Dracula, who can sense the blue blood in his veins.
Okay.
And so they start fighting. And then I can't remember exactly what happens. I think he tries to bite him, but he has the vibranium suit on, so it hurts Dracula's teeth.
Oh, yeah.
but I think he like got him into like if you stare in Dracula's eyes, you become hypnotized.
Oh.
Which is why he got that close, and then somehow that was enough to start transforming T'Challa into a vampire. So there is an outfit for him where he is half a vampire, and it looks super cool.
Okay. Is that one of the ones right now? There's like this thing where you can vote on the like best. Is it just gala outfits?
That is just for the gala outfits.
Okay, so that's
it's
not
essentially a best dress. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, Met
Who
Gala.
wore it best?
Yeah.
Okay. I super love that event.
Very
but
cool.
So that's why he has such an awesome skin. A couple of other characters have some really cool, like darker vampire hunter skins. Adam Warlock has one. Iron Man has one. What I don't like about that is that like the design is like fire red coming out of his suit, but then his blaster still blue like his original character does. Would have been a small thing that I think a lot of people would have enjoyed changing.
Yeah.
Bucky has a really awesome vampire hunter skin. Psylocke has one where she just kind of looks like Red Riding Hood.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and then Wolverine has a really cool one. It looks very, I would say, like Van Helsing-esque.
Okay.
It's very fun. Let me see if I can find a picture of it.
Very fun. Did you talk about how Spider-Man is there?
Forget
that.
There, he's not doing a ton, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
He found
you did
Blade.
say earlier
He's
that he's busy. This is why.
Yeah, he's busy trying to... And he's not able to go see Aunt May because of everything happening here and constant vampire attacks.
Yeah.
He talks about how Spider-Zero showed up and was like, hey, we kind of need your help over here. And he was like, hey, man, my neighborhood is having some issues right now.
Yeah, they need my help more, so...
So, really cool stuff.
Very busy.
This is what the Battle Pass looked like for that season. And each season has, like, a different item that's, like, related to what the season is. The first one was, like, a Cranovium crystal, where all of the skins were. This was an image of the skins for the Season 1 Battle Pass. So you can see the little Wolverine one. It started with a little Bounty Hunter skin for Rocket. I love the... like Imperium skin for Magneto, the Butcher skin for Loki.
Like a battle pass exactly?
So a battle pass is kind of a way to reward people for playing your game. Essentially, you do certain missions and you earn points, and those are points you can spend to get things off the battle pass. Like skins, emotes, name tags.
Okay.
Money towards like other skins in the shop.
Yeah.
And so, but the skins are like a big part of that.
Yeah.
Essentially in almost any game that has a battle pass. Which most games have. A lot of games that are like player versus player have battle passes.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So that is what that season looked like. Some great skins. I think it has a couple of boring skins that are like, man, some of these skins are like, and you have to get them in like a specific order.
Oh,
So it's like, man, I don't want to get a blue version of Penny Parker's robot when I could get like Bounty Hunter Rocket or King of the World Magneto. Oh, now I have to get a black Moon Knight skin instead of like...
Magneto's going to come in season 2. Don't worry. I just know people are going to be like, wait, where's Magneto? Don't worry. We got some X-Men coming in.
Have their own things going on. And it is all the highlight of season 2.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, the second map for this little season was in not New York, in Central Park.
Okay.
And you're saving Ratatoskr, and after you break her off the chain, you walk her all the way through the castle. Something unique to these New York maps is that you see like buildings crumble down. If they're hit enough, they like rebuild themselves on the map. Which can be really annoying if you're standing on them, because then like I'm over here now.
Yeah.
So, but that's something really cool. I like visually they do to separate it. On the New York like map part, you can see a bunch of different places. You can see like the Moon Knight's limo, Kingpin's tower, Heroes for Hire posters, all kinds of stuff, just kind of all over the place. It's a Easter egg, like, dream.
Okay.
In New York. Or in Central Park, you start out in Squirrel Girl's treehouse hideout, and then you go in, and then you can. Originally, you were able to see Blade captured over in like a weird like flame pit.
Okay.
In one of the spawn rooms. And then you go and the end point is Dracula with the dark. I guess just making a spell or something. And then if you make it there, he stops and he's gone. Okay. He's dead.
Do you is there Daredevil in the game?
Not yet.
I didn't think so.
They hint towards a character in red.
Okay.
Which
I mean,
could be a handful of characters.
Yeah. But
and
I
I think
mean, we have Punisher.
Nelson and Murdoch as one of the signs in New York as well.
Okay.
But we haven't seen him mentioned by name yet.
Okay. We have Punisher, so we'll see.
There are rumors that they're trying to get him in the game sooner.
And there's like Iron Fist. Is he the only other defender?
Iron Fist is the only defender right now.
Yeah.
But this is not Danny Rand Iron Fist in the game.
No.
He has his own separate story thing happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the comics, the mantle is actually already passed from Danny Rand to, I don't remember his name, but he is the Sword Master.
Okay.
And so he is the protector of Kunlun, as the Iron Fist always is.
Yeah.
What the entanglement did to Kunlun is apparently there are 8 mystic cities that sometimes appear on Earth and then disappear. They are now all one city now. And they all supposedly have their own protector similar to the Iron Fist.
Cool.
But he doesn't know where they are.
Yeah.
So right now he is single-handedly the protector of 8 cities merged into one.
My gosh.
So we don't know a lot about what's happening there, but I'd really like to. A Kunlun map, or whatever they're calling the new city map, seems super fun.
Yeah.
Super straightforward. Really hope to learn more. It's one of the things that are just like, and then this is out there. And no one else is really interacting with it, but we'll hopefully learn more soon.
Yeah.
And then it's also revealed throughout the battle pass, or throughout the season, that Doom was the one who granted Chronovium to Dracula to make that happen. And then at the end,
the
Doom...
Blood Empire.
Yes. And then Doom uses the Chronovium to basically destroy Dracula and all of the vampires and supercharge the Blood Chronovium that was created because of Dracula's presence.
Right.
So now Doom has a super-powered Chronovium time crystal with vampire magic infused in it. So very interesting to see what he does with that. That's the last we've heard of Doom.
Okay.
Modern-day Doom. And then after that, we went into Season 2, which is the most recent season. How are we doing on time?
An hour and 7 or 8 minutes.
Love it. Okay. So...
You love to see it.
This season is all about the Hellfire Gala. Woo-hoo-hoo. For those who might not be aware what that is, the Hellfire Gala is a really big comic book event that happens, I want to say, basically annually, where it is basically a place for mutant characters and also just big characters throughout the Marvel Comics universe to show up in these super extravagant Met Gala-esque outfits. I think stuff happens there as well, but the whole point of it is that look at these awesome outfits that these superheroes get to wear for this event that someone got to design and all of that. So, super fun. Really fun that they incorporated that into the game. The whole the map of this season is Krakoa, which, for those who may not know, Krakoa is the mutant island that kind of all mutants are kind of settling into. But the difference between this and, say, Genosha and some of the other islands or nations that mutants have tried to live in and make their own is that Krakoa is a living mutant island. So, Krakoa is a living island. And it is a place that only mutants and people that are actively invited can actually actively step foot on.
Okay.
So... And there's a couple of other stuff about Krakoa that we will talk about.
Okay.
The big thing about Krakoa is that in Marvel Rivals is that Storm actually saved the island because she was on Krakoa whenever the entanglement happened, and she was kind of saving it by using her mutant ability to weather the multidimensional storm and guiding Krakoa from modern timeline, and then it ended up moving to the 2099 timeline.
Okay.
So,
interesting.
So in this new timeline, Wolverine goes off and goes to join Black Widow's team to go stop Doom because he likes himself a fight. And it leaves 3 leaders actively on the council of people who rule Krakoa. Okay. And that is Magneto. And Storm. And Emma Frost, the newest character in Marvel Rivals.
Yes.
For those who don't know, she is I would say an anti-hero. She starts as a villain with the Hellfire Club, and eventually she becomes more in the middle, on the side of mutant rights, and she's kind of she does what she wants, but she's often on the same side as all of our mutant heroes.
Okay.
So she is a telepath. She's able to read minds, control minds, and she has a diamond form that she can turn into, where she becomes, as hard as a diamond, strong as a diamond, and also no one can read her minds when she's in that mode.
Okay.
So similar to Magneto's helmet, when he wears it, you can't get into his mind. That's what her diamond form does for her.
Okay.
So she is the one who convinces Storm and Magneto to let the Hellfire Gala happen.
Yeah.
She's able to create special portals to the island that invite some of the bigger names. The whole point is that Krakoa is in this new place. We need allies. Let's bring back the Hellfire Gala. This timeline hasn't seen one since we disappeared like 70 years ago. Let's show them how mutants party. So, and it is revealed that she is secretly wanting to put on the gala to invite Doom 2099 because he supposedly has some way to save the island or heal the island of Krakoa that apparently she is not sharing with the group. I don't think anyone else knows that Krakoa is sick.
Yeah.
Presumably, I think from the Chronovium energy of Krakoa. And I believe Doom 2099 is trying to go there to remove the Chronovium from the island, probably saving the island, but also giving Doom 2099 a lot of power.
Yeah.
So I think it's an interesting little trade-off.
Uh-oh.
So there is a battle pass. I think you have seen it. This is what the battle pass looks like for this season. Some awesome gala outfits.
Yeah.
Black Widow has a really great one.
Ooh, Magic. I like hers.
Yeah, Magic and
That's fun.
Psylocke have retro X-Men outfits.
Yeah.
And it looks like a couple of other characters
That's
are going to
cool.
get some eventually in the shop. I think Namor is going to get one.
Okay. And that's
and
what y'all are voting on right now?
Yes.
So the whole thing is, from my understanding, you vote on your favorite costume, and that whichever character gets the most votes will get a new outfit next season.
Yep, a new free outfit next season.
Okay.
So.
Ooh, free.
Well,
Yeah.
free. So some awesome
Very
skins here.
cool.
I think this is the strongest battle pass yet.
Yeah.
Which we love to see. So fun.
So do you only have is your only time to get these outfits in the battle pass and everything else that they have in the battle pass when the season is active? Like if it moves on to season 3, you can no longer buy anything.
So it does move on
season 2?
if you have the. It's a little paywall-y. So,
oh, okay.
Because you have to get so many points to go towards starting the battle pass.
Yeah.
And then you can get the luxury battle pass, which starts you off like this is where it is, and it's going to give you enough points to start here, and you get all of that stuff. If you get that version, like the luxury battle pass, then even after the season ends, you can go back and continue to go through it.
Okay.
But I think you have to do that before. You couldn't start the game after this next season and access the last ones. I believe you have to buy it while it's still something you can do.
Okay. Cool.
So
Do you have how many do you have?
So I've gone through all 3 battle passes that they
Okay.
Well, I'm in the middle of the 3rd one, but I've gone through the first 2.
Yeah.
Completely.
Very cool.
Krakoa. Right now, Krakoa only has one map mode, which is a capture the point. There's one where there's a giant dragon on top of it. I thought that was Lockheed, but it's too big to be Lockheed. And apparently in the comics, it's Jubilee's child.
Okay.
I don't know. Some of the X-Men
Sure.
comics get really weird.
Okay.
There
fun.
is one where
And Lockheed is Magic's little dragon friend, right?
Apparently that's only a thing in the New Mutants. Apparently
Oh.
it's typically Kitty Pryde's
Oh.
dragon.
Okay. Cool. Anyways.
And there's another map that I don't think has a huge touching point on where it is, but the other one is the Cradle, which is where the Cerebro helmet is.
Oh, I feel like I remember that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and the whole point of this season is that in the middle of the Hellfire Gala, Ultron invades into Krakoa, and he's trying to capture the Cerebro helmet.
Yeah. Which we don't have Ultron yet. He's coming soon, though, right?
Yes,
this
on
month?
May 30th is going to be when he becomes a playable character, and he is going to get a map called Arako, which is the sister of Krakoa, also a living island planet. But Arako is on Mars.
Oh. Okay. Cool.
So, cool. But I heard that the idea is that Arakko was already captured by Ultron, so now it is a super cybernetic and like living robotic planet, unlike Krakoa, which is like a living plant planet.
Yeah.
So very interesting to see what that map is like.
Okay.
Throughout the Ultron attack, obviously you have a lot of X-Men there, but you also summon a lot of heroes here to help on behalf of Krakoa.
Yeah.
So, and Ultron is trying to go for Cerebro. Something also important to note that they beat you over the head with, is that Krakoa has the unique ability to regrow dead mutants.
Okay.
So they have a huge archive of basically like your personality, your thoughts, everything that makes you, your digital codex. And if you die, Krakoa is able to regrow you in a pod and you are reborn.
So is that going to be their main way of bringing in each X-Men? Maybe? Be like, this is how they came into the story, because they were dead, but they got brought back.
It's a little weird. They make a point to like say they had to expand the index because of now there are multiple versions of characters coming in through the multiverse. So it's like you don't want to put the wrong Logan into Logan.
Yeah.
Psylocke is a character from the Psylocke in this game is from a different universe where it never got she never got out of like feudal samurai Japan.
Okay.
And she has a variant of Logan where he's just a actual Wolverine wolf.
Yeah.
And he ends up like jumping throughout the multiverse to find her. And there's a little lore point where he's dying and Emma Frost agrees to put him through the Krakoa's pod, and they regrow him, and he's alive again and he's well.
Okay.
And she makes a point of, make sure you get the right Logan's like mind. We don't need we don't need this Logan, this like actual Wolverine in the Wolverine's body.
Yeah.
So they keep making a point of it. I feel like there's something big gonna happen with that.
Okay.
Throughout the attack, Ultron ends up facing Magneto head on head. He ends up killing him. Oh. And then he gets reborn. Comes right back for Ultron.
Oh, so Ultron, kills Magneto.
Yep, and then Ultron attacks him with magnetic oh my gosh, I can't speak. A nanotechnovirus, which starts taking over and like making like a half cyborg Magneto.
Ew.
Yeah, so
That's
I
crazy.
cannot wait to see that skin. There's a little picture gallery thing where they talk about that, and there's a version of Iron Fist that also is going through that as well.
Okay.
I cannot wait to get those skins because they look so rad.
Yeah.
So
fun.
And not Ultron, Wolverine. Also has a head-on-head whenever he realizes that he's going for Cerebro.
Okay.
Because imagine a genocidal robot like Ultron with the ability to tap into every person's mind on the planet.
Yeah.
So he ends up going and killing Ultron, but in a way where he also accidentally destroys the Cerebro helmet.
Oh.
And then, and that's like one of the two victory screens. Either Wolverine destroys Ultron's head and it like slams and also breaks the Cerebro helmet, or Emma Frost kicks Ultron's head off, and then like the wires from his neck go down and combine with the Cerebro helmet.
Oh.
Either way, if he connects with the helmet, he upgrades into this like weird, even more technologized, but with the Cerebro helmet on his head, as his head, Ultron. Otherwise, he escapes from a pod, Ultron does, and he's the same exact thing.
Oh.
But, he's reborn. Because apparently it's a really well-kept secret that Krakoa can reborn... Rebirth, that's the right word. Not just mutants, but literally anyone and anything it wants to.
Okay.
And that is just a very closely held secret that I think only Magneto knows. And Krakoa, obviously. But.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, through the lore, we learned that in Doom 2099's like messing with the timeline, he tried to completely get rid of Ultron from the timeline, but then he accidentally set it so he got rid of Ultron's origin, but not Ultron, and that made Ultron like beeline it right back to Earth, and he's like, "Oh well, time to go to this mutant nation with a bunch of heroes." So that's why everything is drawn straight to there.
Okay.
So
very fun.
Very interesting. I'm very excited to see Ultron as a character. The last lore drop that we had is that Tony Stark on the island, Ultron abandoned his old body for his new body. Presumably we'll see that on Arakko and deal with him there.
Yeah.
So he's like, so we kind of need a mind that's able to work as fast as Ultron's, and there's not a lot of people like that. So I'm just gonna turn this Ultron body back on and hope we have enough like firewalls in there that he'll stay on our side.
Oh.
And I think that is a really fascinating way to make him a playable character. Instead of him just being like, oh, now I'm on your side. It's like there's a lore reason as to why. Oh, because this is a version that was abandoned. And now he's like programmed to be on our side, and I think that'll be so cool. Yeah. He's supposed to be a strategist, so a healer, which I think will be very interesting. Yeah. I think I can see him summoning other robots to heal. Oh, okay. And, like, because Loki has a thing where he can have clones and they blast healing bolts or attacking bolts. Okay. I can see something similar with Ultron. I'm just very excited to see because I'm itching for a new character.
Yeah. Very fun.
So very cool. Another big plot point that has a good handful of characters that I would anticipate we're getting sooner rather than later. Yeah. Is right after the entanglement, it kind of tore 3 characters throughout time, and they ended up trapped in the Collector's Amusement Park. Oh. In like a little zoo. And these characters are Jeff the Landshark, Psylocke, and Mantis. Okay. So they're trapped. How we get them. Psylocke and Mantis are telepathic, and so they all build this like 3-way like bond from like different cells. Yeah. And one day Mantis is brought out, and she is put in like a cage match with another version of herself. The other version of herself sacrifices herself so they can kind of combine their energy to go to the astral plane. And Mantis uses her ability to regrow herself from plants outside of the cage. Okay. And then she's able to go and open the other 2 cells. And then they all escape the Collector's Museum. Slay. And they vow to come back, which is exciting. Because the Collector's always had a museum, never an amusement park. Okay. The only character I'm thinking I don't remember us mentioning was Luna Snow. She's also a little bit on her own. Okay. The only story point that she has had so far is that she has a concert on an island. Okay. And Namor comes up and is like, "Hey, you think you have all of these fans? Well, I'm about to conquer the surface, so you're gonna do nothing." And he's like, and then she's like, "Cool." Boom, boom. Back to my concert. That's funny. Sorry, I can't hear you over all of this drip. So that's funny. It's very funny that she just kind of is there. And I think, and before that, she like stops an octopus from attacking the crowd. Okay. And then Namor's like, "Hey, thanks for doing that to my octopus." Dang. I'm better than you. It's like it's really pathetic. Namor, so silly. Yeah, I think that's essentially all of our characters. Some other characters that are rumored to be showing up soon. Recently, I've heard Forge, which we've seen in X-Men 97. He's the really smart one. He's supposed to be a healer and like upgrades kind of thing. Hive is in that. Snowbird, which is a Canadian mutant from the Canadian Mutant Team. Amareth, which is apparently, I believe, a Scarlet Witch villain, a rival witch, which is exciting. I think more witch is more fun. They should do Agatha, too. Agatha and Death. I've talked about the idea of, like, doing a Westview map where it's, like, cursed Westview, where it's, like, different parts or, like, different time periods similar to the show of WandaVision. Yeah. And, like, you're, like, guiding something to, like, with the entrance to the Witch's Road. Yeah. And then a second map where you're going down the Witch's Road. I think that'd be super fun. I would say either Vision, like, you can do Vision in that. Yeah, Vision. You can do Agatha, maybe for the end. Maybe you do Billy or Speed. Yeah. Lots of different possibilities there. They haven't even touched any Inhumans yet, which I think is super fun. Yeah. They have a city on the moon. Or Young Avengers, right? No Young Avengers yet. Miss Marvel's an easy tank. Yeah. I think they have Hawkeye, but I think if you do Kate with more trick arrows, I think there's enough differentiation to make her own fun character. Hulkling, a shapeshifter. They hint towards him. Okay. You actually see the logo for his empire on the Klyntar map. Okay. It's a little Easter egg, which is fun. Yeah. Love the idea that he would be playable. Valkyrie, people have said that they found her in the course in the code.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say maybe Psylocke or not Psylocke.
Not Psylocke.
Cyclops as well. I think people are talking about seeing. But there's just so many different ideas. So many different characters to use. People really want like Nightcrawler, Deadpool. I think people have talked about seeing.
Yeah.
I heard that they were trying to make him a healer. Something about like his like blood being used to heal people because he has the healing. I don't know. It'd be interesting, but they're definitely looking for stretches on getting more healers in this. Yeah. Which I can't blame them.
Bring the Eternals. You have an actual healer.
I would love to see some Eternals in there. I think
they should. They could do a whole season.
Be awesome.
Yeah,
it would be really cool. Icarus with like a beam attack that he just constantly does.
Speedster would be interesting because we don't have Quicksilver either, so we don't have any speedsters.
It'd be really interesting to see how they work with a speedster.
Yeah.
So, so kind of fun stuff.
I don't know.
A lot of possibilities. It was really smart for them. People were talking about to have the Fantastic Four be so prominent the year of the Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
I think I would have loved to see maybe some more tie-in with the Thunderbolts. They gave Bucky a skin because he's the only character from that movie in the game.
Yeah.
But it has so many people talking, like there's fan art of like what that team would look like in the game.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
How do you differentiate Yelena and Natasha in the game? I think it's easy. Natasha's a sniper.
Yeah.
Have her shoot because she doesn't use the widow bites at all.
Yeah,
so
and Yelena
give Yelena
does.
the widow bites.
Yeah.
And then that's a different character.
Yeah.
I think Sentry as a flying tank with like some kind of void attack would be really awesome.
Yeah.
There's just so much possibility. And it's just very exciting to have a game that's so fun like this and so creative.
Yeah.
And it's constantly updating, which is super fun.
Didn't they say they're guaranteed one character a month, but they might do more?
This season is the last season where they kind of give each. It's like a month and a half between characters.
Okay.
And so the next season, with season 3, they're officially going to start doing a new character every month.
Okay.
Which is going to be very fun. That's 12 new characters a year, which I think is almost perfect to like keep getting people to come back.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited to see how that all goes out.
Yeah. It just does make it a little like, okay, so they're probably not going to do the Thunderbolts because that by the time they're able to do that, that time has passed a little bit.
I mean, but
they could do it for Doomsday,
Sentry
I guess.
will always be fun.
Yeah. It'll always be fun, but like it would have been fun to have it like the Fantastic Four kind of a little beforehand.
But I think that was the thing because throughout all of the characters' lore, like I went over the list of characters that are in New York, and all of them are interacting with Reed Richards right now, and it's like, so we need to see what's happening in New York, and these are characters who everyone is talking about. So So there's clearly a push to have them be there. Like it starts with season 0, and then in season 1 they're there. So I think they were very much supposed to be there really early on.
Yeah. Okay.
And because what's Emma Frost doing right now outside of this? I think
I don't know.
It's really interesting to see the idea that Marvel Rivals is like pushing characters that and like convincing people that they want to see more of them.
Yeah.
Because obviously Emma Frost has had such a huge fan base beforehand, but now there's a love for her that is crossing into the mainstream, which you love to see, and hopefully they do her so much more justice in live action in this next go at it.
Yeah, I agree. Very fun.
So, really fun. I think that's going to wrap up our conversation for now. If there's more updates whenever season 3 comes out, I might come back on and talk about that, maybe split an episode with something else.
Yeah.
I just really wanted to share everything I know about this game. It's very lore heavy. I really love that about this game.
Yeah.
And it's super fun. If you play first-person shooters or games like that, and you haven't known if this is something you want to play, I definitely recommend it. It's free to play.
Yeah.
And then, they have some stuff you can buy, skins and stuff, the Battle Pass. But it is all worth playing, at least in some capacity. It's a super fun time, and it is, it's just super exciting.
Very fun. Cool. I do like the lore, even if I'm not a huge, gamer. I think it is interesting, and I do love the characters. It's working really well, and a lot of people are talking about Marvel Rivals, so yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will go ahead and cut it there. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know if this little break from the usual with something you guys enjoyed. Are there any other games that you'd like for us to maybe take a look at?
Yeah.
I'm definitely down to try more games or talk about some more games that I am really familiar with. So let us know what you guys think.
Yeah.
I know that you have talked about how you love your books, so would you be interested in maybe Alicia talking about some of the books that she's read? I think that there's a good couple that we could talk about for sure. So let us know what you guys think. But until next time, I am Luke.
And I'm Alicia.
And thank you guys so much for listening to Not So Straight Nerds.
Bye.
Bye, guys.